think it makes complete sense. But what it does do... So firstly, there needs to be a joint sort of mission from governments and these tech companies to actually do something about this now. But there isn't. The sanctions that are put onto tech companies if they don't protect people, don't protect users, is nothing. It pales into insignificance given their profits. But we're seeing now that there is a real case here to do something, because if we don't, kids are getting radicalised. I'm scared. My kids are very young at the moment, but the idea that they can have this phone in their hands, and they can get around all of these parental controls, by the way. They just hop onto a VPN. Kids know how to do it. And they can access, like this girl did, who killed Brianna. She got onto the dark web.
The dark web. And that's via a browser. So that's nothing to do with social media apps. So I think...
But social media, I think, needs to be regulated. There are ways in which you can do it, but what that does, regulation, reduces usage. Well, these companies, these tech companies, they live for usage. So
but I think
they won't want to support it.
I think what Brianna's mum, Esther, is saying is more revolutionary than that. She doesn't want to see a smartphone in the hands of anyone under 16. And you can give people a Nokia 610 or whatever, the old-fashioned phone that just does texts. What about that, Peter?
Yes, you could, but young people, just as Marina has highlighted, will circumvent almost any control or unenforceable legislation that you bring in. Quite simply, and this might not be universally popular, but I don't care, parents have got a parent. You have to be disciplined. There is absolutely no reason why a parent should allow their child unhindered access to the internet while they're in their bedroom. Go up there, open the door. What are you doing? What are you looking at?
I wish
Do
I
not
could.
be afraid to discipline your children.
Quickly, in practice, what does that look like? Because are you suggesting when my kids get to that age, I have to be over their shoulder all the time?
No, but I'm saying there's nothing wrong with opening the door when they don't expect it.
Okay, Pete,
say,
it's so unpractical.
Sorry, I hadn't finished.
They open the door and they'll switch the screen over.
No, go on, Peter.
I hadn't finished.
Open the door when they don't expect it.
Yeah, and say, excuse me, son or daughter, what are you looking at? What are you researching? Who are you speaking to? We did it with ours.
I've got two teenage girls, and I worry my relationship with them would be destroyed if I started surprising them like that. I don't know what I'm going to find in there.
Then don't be a fluffy parent. Please discipline your children. Children like boundaries. It makes them feel loved. They operate within it, and they can be happy.
Fair enough.
And
maybe that's what we need. I mean, you could do a thing, Marina. I've seen somebody. Well, a guy came round, as kind of handyman guy, to do a lot of grouting, which I seem to be unable to do. And I said, how do you deal with this? He said, I took a hammer and he smashed the router. They don't have any Wi-Fi now.
That's probably your approach, isn't it, Peter?
Not at all. It's absolutely nothing
no Wi-Fi.
My approach whatsoever, thank you.
I just think there needs to be... Look, we're looking into the detail. It needs to be bigger than this. This needs to be solved at scale between governments and the tech companies. Like, parents on their own are not going to solve this problem.
On this note, I think there's quite a lot of sympathy from... And she seems like a very, very loving woman, Brianna's mum. So Esther saying she's open to speaking to the mother of one of the killers, Scarlett Jenkinson. So let's see what she said.
I would like to say that if she did want to contact me and she does want to speak, then I'm open to that. I'd like to understand more how their life was and what they went through, and I also want her to know that I don't blame her for what her child's done, and I also want her to know that I understand how difficult being a parent is in this current day and age.
But that actually goes into what you were saying, Peter, which is Brianna's mum seems to be saying you can't actually control your kids.
Fluffy parenting is the scourge of the planet.
It's not fluffy.
It really is.
You're so reductive.
My children, we had an open relationship with them. We were honest with one another. There were boundaries, there was discipline, and moreover, there was love. And consequently, we didn't have these dramas. And when too much time on the phone became an issue for one of our children, his phone was taken away
just to be clear, when you talk about fluffy parenting, you talk about the parents of the killers.
Yes, of course, I'm not.
Marina, no, doesn't work.
It's just to say it's fluffy parenting because they're not like bursting into their kids' bedrooms to do a surprise check on them is ridiculous. All it does is it just points the finger at parents. It's do you understand how
Did you ignore everything else I said about love and discipline?
No, of course I agree with love and discipline. That's what I grew up with, right? But a parent bursting into someone's room to check isn't going to solve this problem and pointing the finger at parents. If a parent is working full-time, how are they supposed to keep an eye on what their kid is looking at on the internet?
Honesty, did you ignore the word honesty that I used? Having an honest relationship with your children?
OK.
Let's talk about something.
Absolutely everything.
Marina.
We had an honest relationship with them, yeah.
Okay.
Marina,
that's why they're mighty fine human beings.
In the Mirror.